First of all, as Daryl said, there is no imminent threat, but this is a situation that we think you should be aware of because it could develop into a threat fairly quickly. And the first slide here is from 1987, and the reason that is because what's happened in the last week or so also happened in 1987. And that is that during the building of the Kupainaha lava shield that started in '86, in February of 1987, lava kind of crept off one side of the lava shield, entered a crack, flowed through the crack several hundred feet, and then popped out at the other end. And so this is a picture slide of this event. The lava came in over here, went into the crack, which went under a lava flow here, and then just popped out, and that was it. The activity then shifted over to another part of the Kupainaha shield, and the event was over. But that did sort of set the stage for what's happening right now. Okay, so this was the map. Actually, it's the same map that you see here from Saturday. And it shows the general stuff, the lava flow, which we are calling the June 27th flow. And we talk about, you know, we sort of run out of brilliant names for lava flows after a while. So June 27th means that it started erupting from Pahoa vent on June 27th. And this flow actually robbed the supply eventually from the Kahoa 2 flow, which we always were talking about prior to that. There were 2 Kahoa flows within 2013 and 2014. And so those are now dead. All Pahoa lava is going into the June 27th flow. Came right out here between the Kahoa flows and the 2007 lava flows. Ended up being kind of narrow, so it moved quickly. Ran out to about this point and then went into a crack, like in 1987. This crack, it actually flowed along the crack, apparently, for a longer distance than in 1987, but it's still along the crack. And so as of yesterday when we were meeting, we were speculating that either the lava was going to freeze inside the crack or it was going to pop out on the lower end, except that we didn't know where the eastern end of the crack would be. Steaming kept progressing slowly along the crack, and we inferred that there was lava in the crack following the steam. This is the map from today, about noon. Lava has popped out at the end. There's a small pad there. It's very narrow. It came out of the crack that the steam was issuing from, advanced a little bit, it appears, and then it flowed into another crack just to the south. And as we left today, about 1 o'clock, it looked like lava was continuing along this crack, neighbor crack to the south, and moving a little bit forward. I've indicated where I think North Road is up here. I think right here, South Road and Middle Road for Kahoe homesteads. Again, this is just a photo of where the lava went into the crack, and it, you know, it was actually right underneath the lava flow. Lava flow just covered the crack, drained out the bottom. For a couple of days, we could actually see the lava flowing into the crack. We can't see that anymore. You can see the crack. The lava flow has kind of collapsed a little bit inside the crack, and then all we could see was the steam coming out up until yesterday. This is the view on Saturday. So here's Kahoe Homesteads, the southwest corner. Here's the road out to the geothermal drill pad. The drill pad's right out here. And the eastern end of the steaming crack as of Saturday was here. And on Saturday there was a fairly active north branch of the flow that was diverting some of the supply from the one that was coming this way. So this is a picture from today at noon, and I hope you can see the road a little bit better. This is the road to the geothermal drill pad. You can see a fair bit more smoke out here, and that's because there is lava on the ground at the end of this crack. It is smoldering the forest around it. We saw little flames and things, but it's still pretty wet out there. We are looking towards Pahoa. Here's the southwest corner of Kahoe Homesteads. Here's the road to the geothermal drill pad. Pahoa's out here. I'm sorry? How close can you drive up to it? I'm not sure. I don't own that road. Here's another picture because cameras can kind of play tricks. Here's again that smoke from the fire and from the lava itself. You can almost see the drill pad right here. And again, this is the southwest corner of Kaohe Homesteads. Middle road is right here. So this is a little bit of a close-up. Again, the geothermal pad is right there. Here's where the breakout is. This distance is, I think, about 1/3 of a mile. Kaohe Homesteads is right in here, North Road, South Road. So this distance from the tip of the lava flow out to the boundary of Kaohe Homesteads is just under 2 miles. So here's a close-up of that pad of lava. Give you some dimensions. It's about 16 acres of lava as of noon. And the infrared image shows it a little bit more clearly because it takes out all the smoke. But it's basically the same viewpoint. You can see that it's kind of strung out along the crack where we were observing steam coming out before. And this edge was actually slowly advancing, very slowly advancing. But remember that much of the supply is coming out of the original crack, moving over to the south crack apparently, and going back in.
Can you mention that red picture, please?
I'm sorry?
Quarter mile,
I think this is about half a mile. We don't know the volume because we don't know the thickness. It's 16 acres in size. Yeah, and it's about 1/3 of a mile to the geothermal pad from the tip of the lava. The lava is still farther away than the drill pad is.
Forecast it to continue?
Sorry?
You forecast this flow to continue?
There's no sign of it stopping right at the moment, but I'll get to that.
Another question is,
Let me finish the presentation and then we can take questions, okay? So this area, I want to talk about the general area that the lava flow is in. It's heavily cracked. There are a number of drop-down blocks, and so it's going to be very difficult to forecast exactly where this is going, especially if the lava is just going to come out of one crack, move over, and flow into another. So this is a map that was kindly provided by the Big Island Invasive Species Council, where cracks and faults were identified based on LIDAR, airborne laser range finding of the area. And the crack in which the lava originally went into is this one about here. Again, we don't know, even this map doesn't tell us exactly how far the crack extends, but it does tell us that there are a bunch of cracks in this whole area. And so it's going to be very difficult to forecast exactly where the lava is going to go, except that once it gets into a crack, it's going to go this way, east-northeast. And to give you a little better idea about the terrain in here, how the ground looks if you strip off the vegetation, this is the result of that laser rangefinder type measurement in a shaded relief form. You can see all the creases in this map are either due to cracks or faults or something. And it'd be very treacherous terrain to walk across even without the vegetation. But with the vegetation, of course, you can't even see what's under your feet. Of course, lava has a way of clearing that out, but it still responds to the ground surface. And so it's going to be channeled in here like, going down the lane in a bowling alley once it gets into some of these little chutes. And it may find some point to be diverted out of this structure, but chances are it will sort of stay in that structure for a while. Probably the best news here is that if it's going to travel in these cracks, it's probably going to move fairly slow. It takes a lot of energy to heat up the crack to allow the lava to flow through it. It's the same deal about lava flowing into an old, cold lava tube, is it has to heat up the tube in order to flow through it, otherwise it's going to freeze itself and plug the tube. So we continue to watch this very closely. It's not moving terribly quickly right at the moment. And again, it's not an imminent threat, but as you can see, it may develop into one. And we think that you should be aware of the situation. Any questions? It's probably going about that, maybe a little bit faster, a little bit slower, depending on whether it's going through a crack or on the surface. It's been hard. Oh yeah, he asked whether it was going 100 feet per day, and I told him that it was variable.
Will you have any way to tell how much lava will be coming out in the future?
Right. You mean like a volume? Volumes are very difficult for us to measure because of that thickness issue. And we do have ways to do it, but they're not at our disposal all the time. I guess that's the best way to say it. So we will sporadically get such measurements. We have a couple of proxies for the measurements. For example, during certain situations, the amount of gas that's emitted from Pahoa, the amount of sulfur dioxide from Pahoa will tell us something about whether there's more or less lava being erupted. And right now, ever since June 27th, the amount of gas coming out of Pahoa is roughly doubled what it was before. Now that may or may not mean that there's double the amount of lava coming out now, but it certainly means that there's probably more coming out than there was before June 27th.
Can you tell us which direction the lava is flowing currently and where you expect it would end up?
I can tell you which direction it's flowing now, as I've been telling you for the last few minutes, is it's going this way, along the... It's going this way.
Where are we?
We are currently in Pahoa.
Is there